This is Mamuni. Thank you so much for being Amar Baba.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss how to solve a double column cash book problem with contra entries. So let's get started. Chalo, shuru kora jak. Please remember, cash book only records cash transactions and cash book does not record credit transactions. Okay, double column cash book only records cash transactions and banking transactions. Okay, all cash receipts are recorded on the debit side in the cash column, and all cash payments are recorded on the credit side in the cash column. Okay, and all checks received are recorded on the debit side in the bank column, and all checks paid are recorded on the credit side in the bank column. Okay, and please remember, cash column represents cash account and bank column represents bank account. Okay, and please remember, cash column always show a debit balance. Okay, but the bank column may show a debit balance or a credit balance. If the bank column shows a credit balance, it is known as bank overdraft or overdraft. Understood? Now let's go through the problem. Okay, so here is the problem. Double column cash book. Enter the following transactions in a double column cash book. Here is the column for date, here is the column for transactions, here is the column for amount. The first transaction is 2022 on 1st March, cash in hand 10,000, cash at bank 12,000. So we'll have to write to balance BD in the cash book on the debit side in the cash column 10,000, since cash in hand is a debit balance. Okay, and cash at bank is also debit balance. So we'll have to write to balance BD in the cash book on the debit side in the bank column 12,000. Okay, we don't have to prepare any journal entries, so the question of narration does not arise. So let's write. On 1st March, to balance BD. These are the opening balances given in the problem. Okay, to balance BD, 10,000 in the cash column and 12,000 in the bank column. Okay, so now let's see the next transaction. The next transaction is on 5th March, cash sales paid direct into bank 4,000. Goods sell করে যা cash পেয়েছে সেটা deposit করেছে ব্যাংকে 4,000. So the journal entry will be bank account debit to sales account. What is the position of bank account? Since bank account is on the debit side, sales account will also be on the debit side. So we'll have to write to sales account in the cash book on the debit side in the bank column 4,000. Okay, so let's write. On 5th March, to sales account in the bank column, to sales account 4,000 in the bank column, and the narration will be being goods sold and paid directly into bank. Okay, and moreover, bank column represents bank account. Bank account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the receiver of the benefit is debit. When goods are sold, cash comes into the business and this cash was deposited into the bank. So bank is the receiver of cash. So bank is the receiver of the benefit. So bank account will be debited by 4,000. Okay, so now let's see the next transaction. The next transaction is on 11th March, true and cashed check for petty cash purposes. মানে কি, ক্যাশ উইথড্র করা হয়েছে পেটি ক্যাশের জন্য। পেটি ক্যাশ means always small amount of cash. So the journal entry will be petty cash account debit to bank account. So what is the position of bank account? Since bank account is on the credit side, petty cash account will also be on the credit side. So we'll have to write by petty cash account in the cash book on the credit side in the bank column 1,000. Okay, so let's write. On 11th March by petty cash account. So it should be in the bank column. So being check withdrawn for petty cash purposes. Bank column represents bank account, and bank account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the giver of the benefit is credit. Here, when check is withdrawn for petty cash purposes, bank is the giver of cash. So bank account will be credited. And moreover, bank balance is reduced when cash is withdrawn for petty cash purposes. Okay. So let's see the next transaction. The next transaction is on 15th March, he drew check for personal use. See, personal use, not for office use. So I've already told you the personal expenses or the private expenses of the proprietor will always be termed as drawings account, and drawings account will be always debited. Okay. So what will be the journal entry? Check payment hoyeche. So drawings account debit to bank account. So what is the position of bank account? Since bank account is on the credit side, drawings account will also be on the credit side. So we'll have to write by drawings account in the cash book on the credit side in the bank column 11,000. Okay. So let's write 15th March by drawings account, because check is withdrawn for personal use. So it should be in the bank column how much? 11,000. Okay. Being check withdrawn for personal use. And moreover, bank column represents bank account, and bank account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the giver of the benefit is credit. Here, when check is withdrawn from the bank, bank is the giver of check. So bank account will be credited by 11,000. Debit side ki hoy? Cash inflow hoy and check inflow hoy. Or credit side ki hoy? Cash outflow hoy, check outflow hoy. Debit side always records receipts. সেটা তুমি ক্যাশে পাও বা চেকে পাও। আর ক্রেডিট সাইডে কি হয়? অল পেমেন্টস। সেটা তুমি ক্যাশে পেমেন্ট করতে পারো বা চেকে পেমেন্ট করতে পারো। ওকে, সো লেটস সি দ্য নেক্সট ট্রানজ্যাকশন। The next transaction is on 21st March, paid salary 7,000. So this is very easy. Since nothing is mentioned, salary paid is in cash. See, paid salary. Cash is not mentioned, check is also not mentioned. Since nothing is mentioned, we'll always assume as cash. What will be the journal entry? The journal entry will be salary account debit to cash account. So what is the position of cash account? Since cash account is on the credit side, salary account will also be on the credit side. So we'll have to write by salary account in the cash book on the credit side in the cash column 7,000. Okay, so let's write. So on 21st March, by salary account paid in cash. So it will be in the cash column. How much? 7,000. So being salary paid. And moreover, cash column represents cash account. Cash account comes under real account. According to real account, what goes out is credit. Here, when salary is paid, cash goes out from the business. So cash account will be credited by 7,000. Okay. So now let's see the last transaction. So the last transaction is on 31st March, excess cash over 1,000 deposited into bank. মানে কি? মানে হচ্ছে তোমাকে ক্যাশ কলামে বাই ব্যালেন্স সিডি 1,000 রাখতে হবে। দ্যাট ইজ প্রবলেমেই বলে দেওয়া হচ্ছে ক্লোজিং ক্যাশ 1,000 রাখতে হবে। আমাকে ক্লোজিং ক্যাশ ক্যালকুলেট করতে হবে না। সো ক্যাশ কলামে আমাকে লিখতে হবে বাই ব্যালেন্স সিডি 1,000, কারণ আমাকে ক্লোজিং ক্যাশ 1,000 রাখতে বলছে। আমার এটা ফার্স্ট স্টেপ। সো ফার্স্ট স্টেপ আমি করি, তারপর আমি সেকেন্ড স্টেপে যাব। March 31st, leave a little space and then write March 31st, by balance CD আমাকে রাখতে বলেছে ক্লোজিং ক্যাশ ইন দ্য ক্যাশ কলাম। হাউ মাচ? 1,000. ওকে, 1,000 রাখতে বলেছে। What is the next step? The next step is 1,000 after writing by balance CD 1,000 in the cash column. Closing cash should be 1,000. এটা আমাদের বলে দেওয়া হয়েছে। প্রবলেমে এটা বলে দিয়েছি যে ক্লোজিং ক্যাশ 1,000 রাখতে হবে। Now we have to calculate. We don't have to calculate the closing cash, but we have to calculate how much cash is left after keeping 1000 as closing cash. So we have to calculate the total of cash column on the debit side and the total of cash column on the credit side, including 1000. Okay, so let's see. যেই excess cashটা হবে সেটা আমাদের, that excess cash should be deposited into bank. সেটাই বলছে excess cash over 1000 deposited into bank. To see, understand, by balance sheet we have written 1000 closing cash, and then the next step is we have to calculate the total of cash column on the debit side and the total of cash column on the credit side. Then we have to find out কত cash in hand আমাদের কাছে আছে, যা থাকবে সেটা ডিপোজিট করতে হবে ব্যাংকে. ওকে, that will be a contra entry. So let's do it. So the total of cash column on the debit side is 10,000 and the total of cash column on the credit side is 8,000. See, 7,000 plus 1,000, 8,000. The rule is whichever is bigger, we have to write on both sides. So 10,000 will be on both the sides. Okay, so now is the second step. What is the second step? Second step is excess cash will be deposited into bank. So what is the excess cash in hand? Debit side total 10,000, credit side total 8,000. So deduct 8,000 from 10,000, we'll get 2,000. তার মানে আমাদের কাছে cash in hand এখনো 2,000 আছে. After writing by balance sheet 1,000 closing cash, আমাদের কাছে এখনো 2,000 আছে. So the total of cash column on the debit side is 10,000 and the total of cash column on the credit side is 8,000. See, 7,000 plus 1,000, 8,000. So what is the excess cash in hand? After writing by balance sheet 1,000 closing cash 1,000 রাখার পরও আমাদের কাছে excess cash কত আছে? 10,000 minus 8,000 will give you 2,000. তো কি বলা হয়েছে প্রবলেমে? excess যে ক্যাশটা থাকবে ওটা ডিপোজিট করতে হবে ব্যাংকে. So 2,000 will be deposited into bank on the last day. So March 31st to bank account. So what is the journal entry? Cash deposited into bank. Let me show you. See, cash deposited into bank 2,000. This is a contra entry. How did we get 2,000? The total of cash column on the debit side is 10,000 and the total of cash column on the credit side is 8,000. So deduct 8,000 from 10,000, you'll get 2,000. So this excess cash in hand will be deposited into bank according to the problem. So what will be the journal entry when cash is deposited into bank? The journal entry will be bank account debit to cash account. This is a contra entry. Why? Because it affects both the accounts, bank account as well as cash account. যখনই bank account ডেবিটে থাকবে, cash account ক্রেডিটে থাকবে, or cash account ডেবিটে থাকবে, or bank account ক্রেডিটে থাকবে, this is a contra. There are only two types of contras. Cash deposit into bank, that is bank account to cash account, or cash withdrawn from bank for office use, cash account to bank account. Okay, so we'll have to look at the position of both the accounts. So what is contra? I have already explained in detail about contra entries in a video titled Contra Entries. If you're really interested, please check it out. Let me tell you once again. A contra entry is a transaction which involves both cash and bank. Both debit aspect and credit aspect of a transaction get reflected in the cash book. Contra entry is an entry which affects both bank account and cash account because there are two columns in the double column cash column and bank column. Understood? We have to look at the position of both bank account and cash account. So what is the position of bank account? Since bank account is on the debit side, cash account will also be on the debit side. So we'll have to write two cash account in the cash book on the debit side, in the bank column 2,000. Okay, so let's write two cash account in the bank column. Cash account লিখলে তুমি ক্যাশের কলামে লিখতে পারো না, তুমি ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্টে লিখবে. How much? 2,000. See, 2,000 being cash deposited into bank. And moreover, bank column represents bank account. Bank account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the receiver of the benefit is debit. When cash is deposited into bank, bank is the receiver of cash. So bank should be debited by 2,000. Moreover, when cash is deposited into bank, the bank balance is increased and cash balance is reduced. Okay? We'll always have to write C in the ledger folio column. C stands for contra. Okay? So now let's see the position of cash account. What is the position of cash account? Since cash account is on the credit side, bank account will also be on the credit side. So we'll have to write by bank account in the cash book on the credit side in the cash column 2000. Why in the cash column? Because when we are writing by bank account, you cannot write in the bank column. You have to write in the cash column. Understood? And moreover, we are looking at the position of cash account. So 2000 will be recorded in the cash column. Okay, so let's write. On 31st March, by bank account, by balance sheet opore likhbe. By bank account in the cash column. Bank likhle cash column mein hobe. How much? 2000. Okay. Being cash deposited into bank. Okay. And moreover, cash column represents cash account. Cash account comes under real account. According to real account, what goes out is credit. When cash is deposited into bank, cash goes out from the business. So cash account will be credited by 2000. And moreover, when cash is deposited into bank, bank balance increased, but cash balance is reduced. Okay. So now we have to calculate the total of bank column on the debit side and the total of bank column on the credit side. So what is the total of bank column on the debit side? See, 18,000. Okay. And the total of bank column on the credit side is 12,000. So whichever is bigger, we have to write on both the sides. So we'll write 18,000 on both the sides. Now there is a shortfall on the credit side in the bank column. How much? The total of bank column on the credit side is 12,000 and the total of bank column on the debit side is 18,000. So deduct 12,000 from 18,000, you'll get 6,000. Okay. So this is the closing cash at bank. Understood? And by bank account আমাদের always ledger folio তে C লিখতে হবে. We'll always have to write C in the ledger folio column because C stands for contra. Contra entry যখনই হবে, contra entry means side by side entry. There will be a journal entry on the debit side in the cash book. There will be a journal entry on the credit side in the cash book. Contra entries, always remember, are always denoted by writing the letter C in LF column or ledger folio column on both sides of the cash book. Debit side ledger folio to likhte hobe, credit side ledger folio to likhte hobe. Understood? Because C stands for contra. So the closing cash in hand for the month of March is 1,000 and the closing cash at bank for the month of March is 6,000. So this by balance sheet will be brought down beneath the debit total to balance BD, 1,000 beneath the cash column and 6,000 beneath the bank column. And the date will be the next month, the very next day, that is 1st April. Okay, that means this by balance CD 1,000 closing cash in hand will become the opening cash in hand for the month of April, and this 6,000, the closing cash at bank, will become the opening cash at bank for the month of April. Okay, see, the cash book is balanced. I hope you understood. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your precious time. I sincerely hope this was helpful. And before I fade out, please remember, the dream does not become a reality through magic. It takes a lot of hard work, efforts, determination, dedication, discipline, patience, and never give up attitude. Please remember, dreams do not happen overnight. So be patient. It will pay off. Don't stop dreaming. Bye-bye. Take care. Stay safe and stay blessed always.